There is no stronger tie between man and nature than the one that resides in a keg of good beer, over barley and rye, hops noble in stature, our thoughts subdivide over which is most dear. Be they lambics or lagers or bitters or bocks, or pilsners or porters or meats sweet and clear, whether stouts of all vices or ales brown or pale, it's the same to our takers, just bring us more beer.
Hello everyone, San Antonio Beer Guy here today, and today we're going to talk about servicing and cleaning ball lock kegs. Now if you have pin lock, the procedure is pretty much the same. It's just obviously you're going to have pin locks instead of ball locks. My kegs, because I've had them so long, are all pretty much ball lock. Ball lock are pretty much hard to find nowadays. Anyway, so you just need a few basic things. A rebuild kit, which has all the O-rings. That includes the lid, the outside, and then inside you'll see later when I take it apart, there's some O-rings inside the unit. And this should be done on a regular basis. I'm not saying every time you brew or anything, but you know, at least every once a year, maybe every other year, depending upon the type of beers you do. Because after a while, the O-rings, especially inside, start to really get degraded. And of course, the ones on the outside will eventually dry. You can extend the life of them using keg lube and other things. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to disassemble this unit. And I've got a deep socket here so that you can just easily just do this. With these here, it's very hard to get, you know, a pair of channel locks or anything, but you still can do it. But if you've got a deep socket 7/8 for the ball locks, it works perfect. I'm using a 12-point, so that way if you've got a 12-point ball lock or a 6-point, that particular socket works with the unit. So what you do is you just remove these, and you'll see this is the short dip tube, and there's a little O-ring, and you just throw that away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just drop these in sanitizer that I have right here, and then I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. And then you'll see that there is a dip tube right here. And this is obviously the one that draws your liquid out, and the other side was gas. And I can see actually there's broken bits of rubber right here, so this is definitely a unit that's ready for redoing. And I think it's actually been about 3 or 4 years since I've done this, because this is one of my older kegs. I've had these kegs easily 20 years. Okay, and so that goes back in there. Well, actually we're not going to put it back in there. What we're going to do then is also take off the lid. And remove the lid O-ring. Then I'm going to take the new O-rings and throw them in my sanitizer I have right here, because they're already clean. So once I replace all these O-rings and put the unit back together, then we're going to put it on my keg cleaning unit. And then we're going to start with PBW. In warm water, I use 1 to 3 ounces per gallon. This keg cleaner that I use is uses 1 gallon of water, so I made it up at 1 gallon. You can make 5 gallons of PBW using that 1 to 3 ratio, and what decides your ratio is how dirty the keg is. So if the keg has already been cleaned at one point, you just do a quick cleaning, maybe with 1 ounce. If it's been a while and maybe you forgot to rinse the keg out after your last use and it's pretty grungy, or it's held soda before, I recommend the higher concentration. And once I get this keg back together, we're going to set it on here and operate it, and we'll run that cycle for about 5 minutes just to make sure. Anyway, let me get this this unit reassembled, and as you can see, it can use some cleaning. There's a little bit of coloration there, so I am going to grab the smaller O-ring and put it back on the dip tube. And put it back on this side. Okay, and I'm going to find that little guy and the other little O-ring and put it back on. Whoops. Yeah, that is the little one. I thought it was the big one. And put it back on this side. And then I am looking here is these posts are slightly different. So you have to make sure that you get them right. Oh, I know what I didn't do. I've got to replace these O-rings right here. And wouldn't you know, it's giving me a little bit of trouble getting these O-rings on. It's been so long since they've been here. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this unit. Come on, get down there. Oh, maybe it's this side. That's what it was. That's important. You don't get them mixed up, because there are ledges that are different. And what I'll do is I'll replace these outside ones after we clean the unit. And then just tighten the guy right back up. Nope, let's get this going the other way. And just tighten it up. You just have to snug it. You're not trying to do anything really special here. Okay. And then what we're going to do is identify which one's in. This is the end here. So I'm going to connect the in right here, and I'm going to connect the out right here. There we go, locked on, and then invert it on the keg cleaner. There we go. Voila. And then I'm going to plug it in. And what this does is it pumps solution completely out through the whole unit. We're going to run that for about 5 minutes. And what it is that big long tube there is like a CIP, only upside down, and it's shooting cleanser out to the top and down the sides. And then I've actually modified this unit to where I can actually feed both the in and out at the same time. And of course the liquid's coming out the center. Oh, better drop this in the cleanser. And so this is going to run for a couple of minutes, and then when we come back, off camera I'm going to rinse the keg to get rid of the PBW, and then we're going to fill this with Star San and do a sanitation cycle. So we'll see you then. Hello everyone, we are back. Anyway, we're ready for the next step here. I've rinsed the keg. While I was off camera, I also removed those old O-rings because they were a little tough to remove because they were so old. But I used my handy dandy tool to get them off. So if you happen to have one of these tools, it's real handy for getting those old O-rings off. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to find those 2 other little O-rings. There's one. I know these guys are in here. And there's the other. And you just slap those guys back on. They're a lot easier to get on than to get off, but those other O-rings were on there so long, I was actually shocked that they were still serviceable. Okay, now what we're going to do now is I have Star San in here, mixed at 1/2 ounce per gallon. So it's a no rinse. And so we're just going to hook this guy up, and we're going to go ahead and sanitize this keg. And let's see here, let's look again to make sure I'm doing the right side here. So this is out. Come on, snap down there. There we go. No O-rings, makes it a little harder to go down because they're not squished yet. And there's the gas side. Make sure they're locked in. And then back upside down onto the keg cleaner. Here, what I think I'm going to do is move this. There we go, a little bit around. That little modification made it a little tougher to stand this thing up. And then, you know, the one thing I am going to do is I am going to add an inline switch to this thing because they don't give you one, so I'm constantly having to plug and unplug it in from the cord. So again, we're going to let this run just for, you know, about 5 minutes to make sure everything's well sanitized. And then I already have the lid in here. Sanitizing, and I have the new O-ring, which you just go ahead and slip on, so that when you're done, we're just going to let that keg drip dry, and you're ready to fill it with beer. And now you're serviced, and you're ready for a couple of more years. And while this is going on, I'm going to take a few more minutes and talk about, you know, some of my good friends and sponsors who, you know, help me in this hobby and I guess my profession, because I've been dealing with homebrew now for almost 32 years. I definitely want to mention Weathered Souls, which allows me the space to teach my little workshops and everybody come out and hang and brew beer with me. And we do that once a month. We've brewed a Hefeweizen so far. We brewed a single hop Citra Pale Ale, and we just did a double chocolate stout. And one of the reasons I'm servicing kegs today is I'm kegging both of those. So at the next workshop, we'll be drinking the Hefe, the Pale, the double chocolate, and we still have some of that barrel-aged Belgian quad I did that was aged in virgin oak. So it's not a bourbon barrel or any other thing. It's just, it was a brand new barrel that I purchased with medium toast and has been aging since November. So it's been doing well. And some of the other people who attended my workshops have had little tastes from it. So it's time to really ramp up that tasting after we brew. This next class, we're going to do a Scottish ale. And I'm seriously considering maybe possibly barrel aging that as well, just the traditional old way. Again, using a virgin oak cask that's never held any liquor. You know, so that way you get more of the old style flavors that just really come out and make something like a Scottish ale taste good. And I think what the style actually we're going to do is a wee heavy. Also, I want to mention Gabriel's Wine and Spirits, obviously who I work for in the beer and homebrew department. They supply generously a lot of the ingredients, and also Brewery Direct, which is a supplier to craft breweries, also supplies some of the grain. And then of course, I'm also Cerveceros, which is a homebrew club right here in San Antonio, and they have been very helpful and quite a few members attend, and they are now sponsoring me. So if you're a home brewer and you don't belong to a club, please consider the Cerveceros. There are other homebrew clubs in the area, and I support them as well. Obviously, Bear Brewers and a couple of others that I, can't think of right off the top of my head. But those are two clubs that I know and have participated in some form, in one way or another. And also, I want to mention my theme music. I have a very good friend, Stu Venable, who's a home brewer, and he was a homebrew customer when I had my homebrew store in California, who is also a musician and performs in a group called the Epoxy Boggards. And so that's who's supplying the theme music, just courtesy, just to me, because of our long-standing friendship, and of course I have to give him credit, which I'm now giving him credit. And so if you like the kind of music you're hearing, he does a lot of drinking songs and a lot about beer. So visit epoxyboggards.com. And also, I want to mention also all these supplies and all this equipment that I'm using at the workshops and in these instructional videos are available for sale at Gabriel's Wine and Spirits there at 1604 in Blanco. We're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 10 in the morning until 9 at night. You can email me, IM me, your recipes or your needs, and I'll tell you what we have. We hold sales all the time. Be sure to follow me at San Antonio Beer Guy on Facebook, also on Twitter. It's Robert S.A. Beer Guy. And that's pretty much all I have to say. This thing is almost done cleaning. I'm not going to make you sit through all 5 minutes, but I just wanted to talk about those things. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them, and or send me an IM or send me an email. You can also reach me at robert@robertbrews.com. That's my own domain. I've owned that for as long as I can remember. Not as long as I've been brewing, but pretty long. Anyway, it's been great fun, and I hope you watch more of my videos. Take care. Thank you. And before I go, I do want to say one last thing. I meant to say this earlier. And I'm not very professional. I'm very new at these. And I have to say something. Kevin Williams is one of the inspirations for doing these videos. I watch his very important videos almost every day. And if I miss them, then I binge watch. And I've known Kevin since we were in junior high. And we're still good friends today, even though he's in California still and I'm here in San Antonio. So, hey, Kevin, thinking about you, buddy. Take care.
tie between man and nature than the one that resides in a keg of good beer, over barley and rye hops, noble in stature, or thoughts subdivide over which is most dear. Be they lambics or lagers or bitters or bocks, or pilsners or porters or mead sweet and clear, whether stouts of all vices or ales brown or pale, it's the same to our takers, just bring us more beer.
For men of great strength there is no match for stout. Grew Samson his hair and gave Atlas his might. Even great Hercules with his 12 trials triumphant found time in his journeys to toss back a pint.
Be they lambics or lagers or